Hello, it's Kerri and Meg, and welcome to Redesigning Health and Home. We're so glad that you tuned in today. Today is a little bit of an unusual kind of episode, and it was spurred on because we are getting into the mid 40s for episode recordings,
How about it, Carrie? Yes, we
right?
are almost at our year. I mean, not quite, but we are getting there. And
Oh,
we are so grateful for every one of our listeners and our followers and our subscribers. And for podcasts, just Apple specifically, we have 54 followers.
wow. 54 followers. If you think about 54 people in a room, right? Like if I had 54 people in a room that I was giving a presentation to or talking to or having a party with, I would be thrilled. And we are thrilled. We're thankful for every single person who's following us because honestly, at the beginning, we had 0 followers and we had no idea how many we might get.
Exactly, exactly. It's
Yeah.
so fun and exciting to see this community grow,
Yes.
and that's our goal here. When we wanna keep it growing. We want people to share us and maybe engage. We want those comments, and I know sometimes I am a little hesitant because I think, "Oh, am I saying the right thing?" But nothing we wanna hear what you have to say about our posts and our podcasts. We wanna hear your comments or
Yes.
what we can do to create more engagement.
Yes, and behind the scenes, Meg and I get very excited about every comment we get, and we can't wait to share with one another, especially if we get one that's kind of sent privately to us. We'll share with one another, like, oh my gosh, look at this nice thing they said, or oh, here's somebody gave a suggestion, or whatever. So we get super excited about any kind of engagement that we get. So please engage with us.
Yes, I guess that's our whole idea behind this topic of a
Yes.
podcast episode. We want to know what you want to hear. What is exciting to you? Yes, we want to hear what you feel would be fun to listen to, or maybe a guest suggestion. Maybe you want to hear that we're going to have a chef on or a landscaper, because we've talked about doing yard work outside. Whatever it is, we want to hear from you to just help and grow this community that you're already a part of.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Meg and I today, we're going to talk a little bit more about how we would love to engage with our audience, but we're also going to talk a little bit about what it's been like being podcasters because Meg has had a podcast for a while, but it was brand new for me. We started this in February, Meg, of
I think
2025.
it was in February.
Yeah, so it hasn't been very long. I personally have learned a ton. And so we're
Ton.
going to share a little bit about what we've learned, what's been hard, what's been the best part, all of those things. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, and I think our goal has always been not just to combine the fitness and the home decor, but just to be two women in our 50s, being positive and encouraging and inclusive and trying to talk about things that we think our audience might be interested in. That's the whole point. We want to just create something really encouraging and positive here. So,
Absolutely. And it's fun, Carrie, that our family is so supportive. And
yeah.
Carrie and I talk to our husbands so much, and they give us great ideas and suggestions. And they're men. They're men, and they say they enjoy listening to us because of our
Yes.
rapport and our community building. Maybe it's not, they don't want to hear about how to fluff up a pillow, right?
Probably not.
And even I remember talking to your husband, Pete, I said, well, what if I had a fishing guide? Because we've seen the great posts that Pete is out fishing all the time and you're canoeing. And he said, well, I have my own podcast. I listen for that. So that
Right.
wouldn't probably make me want to listen more, but I
Right.
love to hear you laugh and your conversations together seem to flow so nice and I feel that I'm just in that and it's enjoyable. So
Right.
I love that part.
Yeah, for sure. And we have our own niche, right? And fly fishing is not it. But we are hoping that just the positivity and like the fun rapport that we have grabs people's attention regardless of what your interests are, I think is what we're saying there. So um one thing that Pete was talking about, because he's a big chess player guy. And what did you ask him, Meg? You asked him something. Oh, Was it about controversy or something like that, wasn't it?
I think we were talking to him. Now this goes back, Kerri and I were together, and Kerri invited me for a wonderful, wonderful lunch and time at her gorgeous home, and Pete, Kerri, and I were all sitting together having lunch, and we were, of course, talking about redesigning health and home because we just love it and we wanna put a lot of time and energy into it, and yeah, I said, "What makes someone really get excited or comment or
Right.
want to follow?"
Right, right. And, he was talking about, uh so he follows these chess podcasters, he loves to play chess, and he was talking about how this one guy ended up kinda blowing up as a podcaster unintentionally
Yeah.
because he kinda called somebody else out for, like, cheating, and then it came to this whole thing about, like, people were jumping on like, "How dare you, call our guy from our country a cheater?" And, like, it kinda blew up, unintentionally, I think, and from this controversy, and so Meg and I were like, "Maybe we need to be more controversial," like
Maybe push the buttons a little bit, but then,
Yeah.
of course, Carrie and I were saying, "Wait a minute, I don't know if that's us."
Yes, I think I would cry because if somebody came at us after we were controversial, like, yeah, I'd be devastated.
Well, Carrie, we could call it soft controversy.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, what
like
would be an example of soft controversy that could encourage engagement?
yeah, well, you know that I am anti-pillow chop.
Oh, that's true.
So a lot of people like to chop their decorative pillows and have them sticking up like this. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. I'm gonna say it, Meg. I'm just gonna say it.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of that. And so we're
But
like,
we
"Well,
also say we still love the
but
choppers.
if you want to chop the pillows, we still love you." So yeah, this is how soft of controversial people we are.
Well, we need to think of some of those topics
Yes.
and, but even just the fun things we talk about, food and family
Yes.
and fitness, we would love for people to share, push that like button, and maybe hit that subscribe and follow button too.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be amazing. We would love to push that number 54 podcast followers up to 100 by the end of 2025. It's a big goal. It's a
It's
big
a
goal,
big goal.
but
That'd
we
be
are
double.
well, almost double, but you know what? We believe in you, redesigning health and home family. Throw us a solid here. We'll just share it with somebody. Make sure you're following because some people listen and don't follow. We would appreciate it so much.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, that 5-star rating goes a long way. It shows other people that the show is being listened to, it's being enjoyed. So hit that 5th star. And then if you have a few seconds, write that review. It would be
Yes.
really so helpful. And we would appreciate that little bit of time that you took to do it. And we do have some of our listeners who are always so kind to comment and like and
Yes.
engage with us. And we love
Yes,
those
we do.
listeners.
Yes, we do. Well, your brother Adam and your friend Joellen, they're always making comments, and our friend Darren, he's always
Oh my
commenting,
gosh, Darren, I love.
and my sisters, it's just
Yes.
so sweet, and we really count on those.
Yeah, and Marianne is so sweet, and Sue, and we need to name them all. We really do
Yeah,
because they
yeah,
mean the world to us. So thank you so much.
for sure, for sure. So, Meg, I'm going to ask you because now I think like we're around 45 episodes that we've recorded. We haven't put all of them out yet, but I think we're around that number.
Yeah.
So, what have you learned about being a podcaster with me? Because I know you have your own podcast as well for Fit Fed Feeling Good. But what have you learned about redesigning health and home podcast? What's been the hard parts? Tell it all. What's
Okay.
going on?
So the best part is having you as a partner.
Oh,
No, it's here we go. Every episode, just one little emotional cry. But Carrie, you and I are doing this research back and forth, and it's almost that little nudge every time I get, like, "Keep it going, Meg, because Carrie's doing so great." It has been a learning curve, hasn't it? I
it really
mean,
has. Yeah.
just with even the microphone and the sound.
Oh my gosh. Do
What platform? Yeah,
you
tell me.
remember at the very beginning, it was one of our first episodes, and your house was under renovation, and you had to record from your car, and you were trying to
Oh.
find a parking lot where you could connect to the Wi-Fi,
Yes, that was
and you were
terrible.
like, "Oh my god," and Meg's like, "Just wait, I'm gonna go to another place and see if I can," and like all these little bumps in the road that we just have figured out over time. So that's been, it's funny to look back at now, but at the time we were just like, "What the heck are we doing?"
Well, we started with just the podcast, right? We
Yeah.
were trying to figure out what platform to use,
Yes.
how to even get started, and then the sound. And then our wonderful Kerri here, our co-host, she does all of our editing right now, where I know many of the big podcasts, they have editors that do that.
Uh-huh.
And then we got an email. Then we got our Facebook. So we started
Yeah.
slowly growing. And it's been fun to then see a few people email us.
Yeah.
Email
To be
us!
to be guests, which has been so cool. I mean, we've invited people, but had some people reach out to us, which were just like, "Whoa, look at that."
Well, you tell me what has been some of the best parts and some of the hardest parts?
So, to me, one of the most surprising and absolute best parts that I did not expect has been either friends or family reaching out, usually privately, to
Right.
open new conversations that were spurred on because of an episode that we had.
Yes.
And now it's my turn to get emotional. But yeah, the one on anxiety where I shared that I'm on medication, like holy crowly. And I wasn't sure how it was gonna land. But from that, I've had some really great conversations with some friends who have said, "Hey, I know what you're going through. I'm going through that. My family member, one of my kids, and I never would have known that had it not been for the episode." So that's been huge, huge, huge. So thank you.
Amazing. Imagine that, a conversation, creating community,
Yes.
and love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So thank you.
And support. And, some of them have been emotional like that. And some have just been hilarious. Like, I never dreamed, first of all, in a million years that Meg would convince me to be Pamela Pumpkin and do a dance on Instagram and Facebook. And it got the most likes we've had of any post. And didn't you say it's had like 8 shares?
Yes, that was
Yeah.
so much stinking fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
It
The
was
hardest
fun.
part of that was trying to remember the words to lip sync to. I was like, "Man, my memory's not great."
You did great. Oh, you did
Oh.
amazing. But going back to your original point about that one episode, the bringing up of old memories and stories
Mhm.
because we are having this conversation together.
Yeah.
Your sweet mom stories.
Yeah. Yes.
When would have you just told someone kind of randomly about the Home Depot? I don't know.
Right.
Or my apple pie crimper machine when I
Yeah.
was camping with my family.
Yes.
It's been a wonderful platform to share our lives and grow this community for sure.
Yeah.
That
For sure.
1,000% has been
Yeah.
one of the best parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And I wish we could have every single listener come on and tell their thing. And we honestly would. Like, if you want to be on our
Yes.
show, you are on. You're welcome. Like, come
Yeah.
on and talk about whatever you want to talk about. We would love that. So I think I've also learned that this really requires a lot of patience as far as growth goes.
Yeah.
I don't think I had any idea how long it would take to kind of get going with an audience, and we're still in that. Meg is incredible about being consistent. She's got amazing ideas for podcast episodes. And honestly, I'm not the best at following through on things that are hard. And if it weren't for you, Meg, I would have jumped off of this a long time ago. So thank you for being the best partner ever. I think we both bring different strengths to the table, which is why I think it's worked so well.
It is working well, and I'm having a blast. I am having a blast. And like you said about the patience with the growth,
Yeah.
sometimes, yes, part of me thinks, don't even look at that. Just keep doing this
Yes.
with
Yeah.
Kerri. But then it's so exciting to look because
Yes.
we just love that feeling that someone's enjoying what we're doing.
Right, right, and I think that is one of the harder parts is not knowing if we're making any kind of impact at all, and so any indication that we are, we're just so excited about that. But you're right, it's probably best not to look too often, and I don't think we look like we don't
Right.
certainly don't look every day. But yeah, it's kind of a benchmark of how it's going. So
Yes.
another thing though that I didn't expect is it feels like there's always more we should be doing. Like oh, now maybe we need a newsletter and do we need a website and how about this platform and this other thing and so there's always more to be done, which can feel daunting but also so exciting, right? Because there's always new things to try, which I think
Yes.
is fun. Because Meg and I are both working at part-time jobs, although yours is turning out to be more like a full-time job there, Meg.
Well,
But for me, this is like the podcast is just so much fun. It's
so
the best
much
part of my day.
fun.
So
Well, what you just said about there's so much, we've added a
mhm,
lot and
yeah.
we're trying to go deep and wide
Yes.
because we'll start one thing and we are adding other things because we definitely do research with other people's podcasts. We do research through our searches, our Google
Mhm,
searches, or just
yeah,
talking with each other to create some ideas.
mhm,
But we want to then deepen those. But
right.
then if something new comes up, I think we're good about saying, "Yeah, let's give it a try.
Sure. Yeah.
See what
Yeah.
happens."
See how it goes. For
What's
sure.
been some challenges for you?
Being on camera has been humbling.
For sure.
And I say that because I don't think at the beginning that we intended to be on camera really. We were doing a podcast, an audio podcast. But with that, to promote it, you need some posts to be able to put out there, and so we decided to put ourselves on camera. And my sweet friend Melissa had a really great perspective. She said, people want to be see a representation of of themselves. So if your audience is your demographic, which we are in the, female 50 category, they want to see women who look like females in their 50s, right? Not somebody who looks like they're 20 or 18. And so, although it's very humbling sometimes to see yourself on camera, I think she's right. I think it is important to come on unapologetically of this is what 50 something looks like and we're doing the thing and these are the issues that we're going through and maybe other people are going through and please share with us what you're going through because it's important. And I think for a long time, for actresses who when they got to be 50 they didn't get roles anymore. Well, I think that's long gone now. Look at Meryl Streep. I mean, goodness, like she's amazing and taken on so many roles throughout her entire career. And so it's just showing up as we are. And I'm encouraged by the reception that we're getting from
Yes.
them.
When you shared with me what Melissa said, that was a
Mhm.
game changer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
imagined that thought
Hmm.
physically, and I
Yep.
thought, "Yeah, that's so true." And I've actually shared that too with my
Hmm.
family, like, "I need to relax a little bit about this. I need to put myself out more,"
Yeah.
because of what she said.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, she probably didn't realize that that comment was going to mean so much, but it did. And it really kind of broke through a little bit for us to be able to feel more comfortable being on the video part of it all. So thank you, Melissa. We appreciate that so much. So for me, doing the editing, that's what takes the most time for me. How about for you? What part of the podcast do you feel like takes up like the most amount of your time?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think I like to brainstorm topic ideas.
Mhm.
So if I have one, it could just be that one.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
But then I'll think, well, maybe it should be this, or maybe so then it goes down the rabbit hole
Right.
where I change it 100 times, and that just I just spent 2 hours, kind of in my mind creating or thinking, "Gosh, Carrie's been so patient with me. She's probably saying, when is this Meg chick gonna change our logo on our podcast art cover?" And I think about it. So that's one thing. I think about it and then I rethink about it and I think, well, I
Mm.
like this. So I think
Yeah.
sometimes my overthinking gets in the way. But yes, and then the technology part behind how do we let's figure out how we can get some audio pulled in from an outside source. So I have
Right.
fun thinking of a idea, but
Yes.
then how do you do it?
Right. 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 Yeah. So that's a cool bunch of ideas. Now we actually have to implement them. And you're
Yeah.
amazing at the podcast ideas. So when you said to me, "Hey, I've got an idea. Can you just get on? Like, I'm not even going to tell you what it is. Can you just get on and we'll talk about it?" And I'm like, "Sure, let's do it." And I had no idea what I was in for. And it was the pronunciation debate,
Oh,
which
yeah,
turned out
you're
to be like
cute.
one
Yes.
of my like most favorite episodes. Every now and then, Meg and I are still like, "Interesting, interesting."
Interesting.
Inside joke.
Exactly, exactly. Or, we were trying to well, we're still trying to see if we can get people's audio submissions pulled in. So
Yes.
one day I was just doing this puzzle in my head
Uh-huh.
and I thought, I think that should work. Let's give it a
Yeah.
try. And I was so excited. I texted Carrie. I said, I think it will work. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, so stay tuned because we are going to be asking our listeners for some audio submissions where you
Yes.
record yourself for a short bit and send it to us. So that's coming up.
That's been a fun part of this podcasting journey too, because when we started, I didn't even think maybe even about that we were gonna have guests,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know? And then all of a sudden, I listened to a few other podcasts that we listened
Mhm.
to, and they would have guests on. I'm like, "That was a great interview. I'm just gonna email that person," and we've gone fishing a bunch, but there's
Yep.
been a few that have responded in such a great way, and they've been so great.
Yeah. Been so kind and so generous with their time. Our very first interview guest was my sister Debbie, where
That
she
was
talked about
great.
buying a jar of $8 olives and curling and all the fun things.
Kid, my husband was just talking about that episode because he
Mm.
was talking to an old friend and they reconnected and he was sharing about his wife and his wife's girlfriends are in the new empty nest phase
Oh, yeah.
and said, I really think you need to revisit that because it is really impactful to so
Mhm.
many women,
Yeah.
whether they're still working. So he was talking that I think it's a big topic that people want to understand, hear about, talk about, be a community about. And I think when I first heard empty nest, I associated it with you're done working because
Oh,
your kids are out of the house. And I was a little hesitant about that empty nest term because I thought, well, I'm still kind of figuring out my life, but
yeah.
I really think it comes back to your kids have changed or
Mhm.
maybe your life has changed in a certain way that then you're thinking, now what?
Yeah.
Like Laurel has talked about.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, exactly. I was talking to a friend of mine who she turned 60 last year. And she said, I'm just trying to kind of figure out what this next 20 plus some years is going to look like for me. And I have to tell you that when our guest Sue said that there was more sand in the bottom of the hourglass than in the top, that hit me. I was like, I had never thought of it that way. And I was like, holy crap. First of all, she's right. And second of all, boy, was that a wake up call because I hadn't really thought too much about it that way. And so, I don't want to be like, oh, this is my last chapter of my life. Like, no, I don't feel that way at all. And my husband Pete and I were talking about, we think we have lots of cool chapters, which is we're super excited about. but it is an interesting thing to think about. And so I think revisiting some of those topics, like empty nester, like how can we intentionally influence the way that we live these next chapters, and even revisiting the anxiety topic because I feel like there's so much more to unpack there. And so we do actually have some thoughts about some episodes for that moving forward too. But if you have any other topics you would like us to address, please send them to us. We would love some great, like fresh new ideas. That would be awesome.
Imagine that. I mean, imagine our community just coming together and even sharing their stories to help
Yes,
us with our stories.
yes,
And that has been another bonus. I mean, this
yeah.
community that what in February last year, we would have there was no redesigning health and home. And
No,
now there
no.
is.
Yes, yeah.
That's a
Which is
huge bonus.
it is a huge bonus, and it has not, got lost on us that we have yet to have any male guests on our show, and I think we do talk a lot about this podcast being for women in their 50s, but, I think it would be awesome to get some men on our podcast and hear some of their perspective. Hearing a man's perspective on being an empty nester, how cool would that be, right? Because
Right.
as my sister Deb talked about, it was very different for her husband Ron than it was for her. So yeah, I think that, we should entertain that idea of
I
having
think
some men on it.
so. I think so. Last night we're recording this daylight savings. Is it savings? Are we saving time or are we losing time?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, whatever it is,
You're
whatever
right.
happens in November, November, here I am, always the confused one. Um, Last night, the Dodgers, yeah, okay, I can say it. The
Yeah.
Dodgers won the World Series.
Yes.
We need to talk about my night last night. But anyway, we
Ooh.
get to getting home, and it's about the uh, fifth inning of this game.
Mhm.
Gib cannot wait to run in the door because we were listening in the car
Ah.
from where we were, and our son called. And they
Oh,
were on the phone for the whole game. And then this morning I said, "Gosh, what a gift. Like, what a gift." And he
right.
said, "Yeah, I went to bed and just thought, I'm so grateful. I had that fun
Yes.
conversation on the phone about
Right,
that." I
right.
mean, these two are the sports nuts. So
Yes.
they were laughing and cheering and screaming together. It was the most fun. And I was
Yeah.
exhausted because the game
Yeah.
went into overtime, or it's not
Right.
overtime, extra innings.
Yeah.
But I wanted to stay up and see who won.
Yes.
So it was about 11:30 or midnight or so.
Wow.
And it was just more fun to listen to them,
Sure. Yeah, that
you
actually
know?
watched the
So
game. Yes.
yes.
So, Meg, you just hit a hot button. Talk about controversy, because
Oh my
I'm
gosh, you.
Canadian. Yes, and so my Canadian friends are all very sad today, very proud for the Jays getting as far as they did. But yeah, you just hit talk about controversy. You just hit one right there because there's a Canadian U.S.
Oh,
thing. Mhm.
yes.
Yes, yes. But my niece, Marley, she's amazing at, like, doing cool makeup for Halloween and stuff, but she
Okay.
painted these amazing blue jay wings, like, on the sides of her eyes for the game
Oh.
and stuff, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that looks so good." But yeah, there's some sad people today, but yeah,
Oh,
what a game.
oh,
What an ending.
oh,
What a game. It's
oh.
okay, Meg. See, we love everybody.
We do, we do.
Yes. Yes.
All right, how about any more challenges, happiness, podcast stuff?
Yeah, I think it's been a bigger gift than I ever guessed. When you asked me to do a podcast with you, I was like, sure, that sounds cool. I had no idea what a gift it would be. I get so excited every week. My my girls are always like, "So what are you up to?" I'm like, "Oh, we're doing a podcast." Meg and I are hopping
Yes.
on for a podcast, and so it really has brought so much joy and interest and fun to my life. So I did not know that was going to happen. So thank you for inviting me. It's been so much fun.
I have to thank you because I think it was around, was it late December or early January? I might have asked you?
It happened pretty quick from when you asked me to when we started it.
Well, you were the one that finally pushed me because I've said before, my father was
Yeah.
not doing well and passed, and then I traveled and I was gone, and then when I think we were just kind of talking and you were really, let's just try to get an episode out. Yeah, I remember that specifically, and I was so grateful for that because it was almost the snap back into reality. Like,
Uh,
let's get back into planning and get into your life. Life
mhm.
happens and things move on, but I think I was almost in a floating state there for a while.
Yeah.
And you were so great and just said, hey, we're going to do this. Let's just give it a try. And then boom, we were on and so consistent. I mean, we were
Yeah.
even trying to do 2 a week at the
We were
beginning.
at the beginning, and then we were like, "Holy moly, this is a lot of work."
It was a lot of work.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Weren't we using the very first episode? We literally stuck to a script.
We did, yeah, and I don't know, maybe that was a good thing because now we're just kinda like, "Whatever." No,
What
that's
are we
not true.
saying?
That's not always true, but sometimes
Yeah.
we can veer off into, topics we think are
Never,
interesting.
never land.
Yes, but we were sticking to a script, and I remember I would have it up on my screen, and I was, like, reading it, so and we were not doing video at that time, thank goodness, because you would have just seen us, reading, trying to figure out what the heck we were doing, but, yeah, I think that we've come a long way from that.
Yeah, the evolution of that, because
Sure.
then we thought, well, is this sounding script like? Should we try to maybe then just have a prompt? And
Right.
then maybe let's just try one without it. And we were so scared because had
Yes.
that crutch of the scripts and the prompts. So
Yes.
even the talking part has been an evolution.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it has definitely evolved, and I do agree not to toot our own horns too much, but I feel like we do have a good rapport, like a good back and forth. Did I just say
Yes.
toot our horns and you laughed at that?
No. Yeah. I had a mouthful of coffee and I thought, toot our own horns. Woo, woo, yeah. Yeah, rah, rah. Because we're trying to cheer our listeners on.
Yes.
But we are cheering each other. Kerri sends me so many. You're amazing. This was great. Oh, we're doing great. All of these keep going
Right.
texts and
Yeah.
emails and
And you
research.
send them to me, which is amazing, when I need them too, so it's definitely
That's
great.
been really great because
Yeah.
there's days that we all feel down and are
Mhm.
not feeling our best. So just to hear, hey, you're doing a good job,
Yeah. Yeah,
just
for
keep
sure.
on trucking.
That's right. Keep on trucking, I like that, for sure.
When I lived in Brookfield as a kid, side note, side track, side train, one of the garages of our neighbors had this big guy with these big shoes. It was painted garage door,
Right.
huge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it said, keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking, I love that. I love that. So, Meg and I recently had a chance to get together in person, which was so awesome. I was so excited when Meg said that she was coming to the city. We met together and we had such a great time. Anyway, we are going to unpack all about our time together on an upcoming bonus episode. So, stay tuned for that because it was so much fun. I had so much fun.
I had a blast.
Yeah. And
BLAST, capital exclamation point.
it went so fast.
Oh, so
Way too
fast.
fast. Yeah, way too fast. But we will tell you a little bit about some of the fun things that we got up to and share that in an upcoming episode. So please stay tuned for that. Thank you, as always, for listening to our
Thank you.
episode today. And we will see you next Friday.
Next Friday.
Bye bye.
Amazing. Thanks for listening to the Redesigning Health and Home podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to like, share, and follow along so you can catch us on all future episodes. You can find me, Meg, at Fit, Fed, Feeling Good on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
And you can find me, Kerri, on my website at homestylewithkerri.com and on Instagram and Facebook at Homestyle with Kerri. That's Kerri. And you can find both of us at Redesigning Health and Home on Instagram and Facebook. So join us next time for more inspiration on creating a home and a lifestyle that truly supports your best health.